Well, welcome to Y2Y Harvard Square. So we're a student-run shelter for young adults ages 18 to 24. Work with young people who are homeless. We really talk about for three main reasons. So home isn't safe. Young people face abuse, neglect, and trauma. Home isn't supportive. A disproportionate amount of homeless youth are identified as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. Or home doesn't exist. About a quarter of homeless youth in Massachusetts have aged out of the foster care system. And until we opened, there were only 12 youth-specific beds in the entire greater Boston area for young adults who are homeless. And young people don't feel safe going to adult shelters, often won't go into adult shelters. Right. And so in this program design, we really valued the experience of young people who had experience with homelessness, and also in the space design. So it was one reason why we were really grateful to have your guys' donations, is that it really allowed us to create a space that was kind of all that we envisioned.
You know, one of the early things we did was do workshops with the young people who were going to be future clients and guests at the shelter. And it was really, really clear that there was such a yearning for home. You know, they didn't want an institutional setting. They wanted something that was home-like, but they also wanted something that was hip and trendy and that kind of, you know, spoke to their age group. You know, we have a space that can show us that we're worth something and continue to remind us that this is a stepping stone for us to move out of homelessness. So it was also important from a design perspective to be able to be open to ways in which the space itself could be transformative.
So our bathrooms and showers, kind of reflecting those design priorities that I mentioned, are all single stalled, all lockable from the inside. So this is a combo bathroom and shower unit. These
mosaic.
Yeah, so the mosaic was actually Sarah, my co-director, and her family did it as a Thanksgiving project.
So very early on, there was just a very preliminary idea of a wave, because it was a bathroom. And it was a drawing that I put together probably in 30 seconds. It's just, you know, and that stayed till the end, because Sarah, who's the other co-director, her cousin does scenic design, and so she was game for trying to, you know, do a tile mosaic. I had done a tile mosaic probably 10 years ago or some very long time ago. But people were game, and I think that was part of it, is that if we had only relied on the contractors, it might have been limiting for them. They might not have known, you know, how to throw themselves into this and just say, we're going to do it no matter what, we're going to figure it out.
I guess programmatically, the main space is really intended to offer a flexible array of options. So, you know, if I want to come in and just sit by myself and never talk to anybody, that's fine. If I want to be in a group and make friends or be with my friends, that's fine. If I want to do homework, you know, so there's sort of all of these pieces. So that's kind of programmatically how we laid it out. And also with sort of these clouds that, you know, are made of acoustical ceiling tile, so do allow for some sound absorption. That really helps.
They did not want ceilings that were so high that it felt like they were in, you know, some institutional space. They wanted to have areas of congregation that had lower ceilings. And so we knew that one way to create that, you know, architecturally, was to have sort of floating clouds. We knew that we wanted to have a big open space, but we didn't want a fishbowl effect.
Kind of when you're sitting under one, it really does feel like you're almost in your own room, which is a really cool feel. Yeah, we can go into this. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, your voice sounds different.
Yeah. It is a really nice effect. So this wooden wall paneling was actually from Longleaf Lumber in North Cambridge,
really?
and I think it's flooring material that they were kind of like, you know, we've got a bunch of it. If you want it, it's yours.
Donated it?
They donated it 100%.
Wow.
Long story short, it really helped add a warmth to the space that would never have been possible without that salvaged material.
We got some young people from Youth Build Boston came in and did a week-long project along with just a woodworker from Kenyon Woodworking. One of their woodworkers came and kind of supervised it. Wow. So it really came together nicely.
Really nice story here.
Yeah, it is nice, and this is like my favorite.
Contributed
labor
and materials.
It really was. We were very lucky to get it, so it was nice. Over here are clothing exchanges. So the idea being that, you know, if I want anything professional attire, warm attire, just fashion, I can come, and these are open at all times in terms of, you know, not being locked, so I can grab whatever I want from here, try it on. These doors are also Harvard Business School doors, part of the same pickup. It worked out really nicely because roughly half were these closet-style doors, so they worked really well for this kind of clothing exchange.
And so we had this really great design build project where they built modularized lockers using doors. And so they thought about how to minimize waste and how to not use any, to use very limited amount of plywood in between the doors. And so the doors function both as partitions in between the lockers as well as doors that were able to open. And it was a huge savings, because I think we ended up spending maybe $1,500, I don't know the exact number, but a very small amount on these lockers that would have been, $1,000 a piece or more. And so it was a huge savings, but it also had the additional advantage of having the warm tone. It has this kind of worn, loved quality to it that really went to the homeliness that the young people were craving.
So this is one part of the project that doesn't really have any reclaimed material, but we're very proud of. These are our bunk beds. So the challenge in shelters, as you may know, is just it's hard to do group sleeping. It's hard to do safe sleeping when so many of our young people have experienced trauma in a variety of ways. So the way we approached it was really with kind of a pod or alcove mentality, really trying to capture some of the spirit behind the Japanese hotels or British Airways sleeping, kind of business class sleeping and things like that. So each bunk, it was really designed in mind with sort of creating the feel of privacy without diminishing our lines of sight. So this is actually a little bit more, but guests can have sheets but need to leave a foot of space for our staff to see. This isn't quite a foot, so we'll have to deal with that. But generally that notion, and so it's sort of translucent plexiglass shutters that allow for some privacy. Each bunk has its own reading light and outlet installed in sort of the head. I can turn on the reading light just so you can see the effect.
LED lights.
Yep,
nice.
LED lights, which is nice. Each bunk also has its own recessed locker that guests can. So guests stay for 30 days and can keep their locker throughout that. And so there are 9 bunks on the first level, 9 on the second, and then 4 treetop bunks, which guests can opt out of if they're scared of heights. I think I probably would, but they've actually been pretty consistently the most popular, just because they're so sort of in their own world up there, which is nice.
The most privacy.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So our kitchen is an industrial kitchen.
Seems very clean in here.
Yeah, it's
You've done
great.
a good job.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Yeah. Great job. Very
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a really fun process, and again, can't say enough how grateful we are to you guys for helping to make those connections to the resources. It was especially early on over the summer before we had really started the renovation, and I think people kind of got excited as the space took shape. So that's when the plumbers said, "Oh, we'll make the full donation and stuff." It really was incredible to say, all right, we have some doors, we have some ceiling tile, we have some of the really key materials. So that was awesome.